What's up? So today I got Decay. The pre-constructed deck, I've yet to buy any other scrolls other than that, but I've played a lot against a lot of Decay decks and people who have developed more decks, and I'm starting to see, a trend on how this works, how it builds, and what exactly you're supposed to do with it. So if you don't know much about Decay's, as it seems, when you think Decay, you think of something that falls apart. That's something they excel at. So imagine, for example, where exactly is it? There is a ability, a trophy, which reduces someone's attack by 5 until the end of the opponent's next turn. So say I use this against someone in my turn. Next turn, it's still active until their turn is over, and then it comes off. So it's a lot of attack reducing scrolls, and it also revolves around poison a lot. Poison is probably one of the strongest things you can put into your deck. So things like from growth element, I think it's Elena's Vital. When you get attacked, they get poisoned. Plague Rat or Mangy Rat right here. When he attacks someone, he poisons them. What is it? This guy comes in and gives you more health. The Bitter Root, when it's a structure, when someone attacks you, they get poisoned as well. And there's like a couple other things around here. Where is it? If I can, when I find it, okay, this guy right here, I believe. No. Anyways, poison is very, very strong. And you might sit and think and say, well, poison is only 1 damage every 3 turns. That's not very strong. It doesn't come into a lot of uses very often. It's not always the strongest thing I can do. Well, I mean, they kind of proved that wrong in this deck with this item right here specifically. Okay, I might mispronounce this, but Masaima's Well, or the Well, increases all poison damage by 1. So if you have 1 or 2 of these out, instead of your poison damage doing 1 every round, it's doing 2 every round, or 3 every round. So your damage is going up from, 3 damage to 9 damage by the time it's done. It's exponentially increasing. Besides, well, is just ridiculous when it comes to the poison aspect. There's a lot of just I guess you could say that the Decay deck is actually really, really resilient. It's a resilient deck. It's not something a deck you could shut down. It's slightly weak early, but as soon as you get around like 5 or 6 resources where you really start to shine, it's unlike Order, where Order becomes really strong even without before you even get to the Honorable General, because most of your units cost like 1 or 2 resource. Most of these are a tad bit more expensive, but because of that, once you get to the higher up there onto the resource ladder, and you get to use things like Lifestealer, and you get to use things like Infectious Blight, and you get to things used like the Curse Monger, which uses a curse every time its cooldown goes to 0. It can be anyone on the board and does 2 damage. Or when you get to this, when you get Pillar of Disease, and you can reduce every unit on the opposite board's damage by 1 completely until that thing is destroyed. Or you can have the Witch Doctor, where say if you have someone like the Loyal Darkling, or who else can be up there? Okay, so, or if you have some other human, I think it is the Blightbringer, or let me see if I can find that. So there's the Blightbringer. What he does is he takes 1 poison damage every round. So if you have Messiah, he can go down very quick. But the important thing about him is when he dies, he poisons everyone in that row. And when he gets destroyed, whatever it is, it doesn't have to be in battle. He poisons everyone in that row, even in your own row. So if you have him in a row by yourself, and he gets attacked and he dies, and he poisons everyone, you have 2 Messiah Wells up there. Say they had 3 units in that row that were relatively strong. How likely is there going to be a unit in there that's going to have over 9 HP? It's going to go down in 3 turns. You have 2 Messiah Wells, 1 Messiah Well up, and you're doing 6 damage just off of poison on yourself without units. So this deck, I think it goes really well with growth. I think growth is a big thing. You also have some more poison spells like Myra's Curse, where you can curse the other opponent's unit, and it deals 1 damage of poison all around them every time the beginning of each of its turns. So that becomes very powerful. Poison is just a really strong thing. So the reason why it goes so well with growth is because there's other scrolls, like there's this Fly Scroll that it takes 1 HP away from anything on the board, and if that kills anything on the board, it increases your growth by 1. So Decay and Growth go very well together. I don't know of any other ones that go very well together. The only other thing you can do is you can kind of build a rat deck if you ever wanted to. Since you have another rat in there, you can go Junkyard, Mangy Rat. I think there's Rat King. I haven't seen what he does. That's like a really rare. That guy's like 1,500, 1,200 gold, so he's pretty rare. And then you have the the Junkyards that will increase its attack, I believe, or its defense, and it'll just keep raising stronger and stronger. And then if you incorporate things like the poison that this Mangy Rat applies every turn, and or when they attack, then that's if I have a Messiah as well and I attack with Mangy Rat, he might only do 1 damage, but then the poison in the next turn when it starts is gonna do another damage. So really he does 2 to like 3, or it depends on how many Messiah as well. If you have 3 of them out, which is probably unlikely, but if that happens to work, then the amount of damage you can put out is ridiculous. There's also Infected Gravelock. So if you're doing a Gravelock deck, I know a lot of people do this because they can be very strong when you have like the Gravelock with Relentless and the Gravelock that you can spend a resource to completely replenish its HP, the Gravelock Elder, and you have Infected Gravelock, and then you have Grave Hawk, which increases the damage depending on how many Gravelocks there are out. There's a lot of possibilities so far right now. There hasn't been an update, so a lot of decks have problems incorporating like Decay. Not so much. It's not so much of a big deal if you use a splash. Now splash is when you only use 1 or 2 resources, and that's where you cap out. You don't go any higher than that. But if you want to do like a dual deck or a tri deck or even a quad deck, that's not realistically going to be able to happen right now, since there's no like memorials that you can use or packs that you can use that are in the game yet that allows you, those old Go decks back where you use the memorials and you get a resource and another resource in a separate resource in which you are using. But right now it's pretty strong. I've been against these decks a couple of times and they get it's very hard to take them down, specifically because of this guy right here, the Witch Doctor. Whenever you kill a human that's around him, he actually turns into one of these. He turns into these husks. 3 damage, 2 HP. So, say I have a human creature and he dies, and he deals 2 damage to the opponent's idols when I sacrifice him. Then if he's adjacent to this Witch Doctor, he immediately comes back as a husk. So it's not like I wasted him just to do damage against the idol. He comes back as an actual unit that can protect. There's also a very, very strong unit. It's only 3 resources. I believe it's called the Harvester. I might be wrong on that. But when you summon it in, it's only for 3 resources. It has 8 attack. It has 5 cooldown. And then it has, I believe it's 6 HP. And with that, it's very, very strong. But there's one drawback to it, is that it doesn't go down and cool down. It doesn't count down and cool down. But what its effect is, so as I was saying, like his cooldown goes down every time a unit on your field dies. I believe it's also a unit on the other field. I might be wrong about that though. There's also an enchant you can put on him, which I believe is, what is it? No, it's not the Shroud of Unlife. It's not that. It's not Hex Marks. No, it's not. Hex Marks is actually really powerful though. When you use it, you can put this on. You would enchant the creature. When an enchanted creature damages an idol, it does 3 extra damage. So say you using a Kinfolk Brave, and he's about to attack an idol. You use this on him for 1 decay, for 1 resource of decay, and then he does 6 damage to him. So it can really exponentially do how much, someone could underestimate how much damage you're going to be able to do to an idol. I'm trying to see which one of these items. I can't remember exactly. One of the enchants in Decay allows you. Here it is. Wicked Being. When enchanted, unit is attacked in melee. Now attacker gets cursed 1. That's not it. When enchanted, his unit is destroyed. A dead husk is put in his place. So another one of these guys are summoned when he goes down. Myers Curse is probably not that down. It's Stratting Shackles. Searing Shackles. I can't even pronounce things today. At the end of the opponent's turn, enchanted unit deals 1 damage to the idol in the same row. Enchanted unit is dealt 2 damage when moved. So this is similar to binding roots, to the extent where you're not going to want to move your creature. They're not going to want to move their unit, because if he moves it, he's going to take damage, and every time he moves it, he's going to take damage. So generally, you're going to keep him in the same place because you don't want that damage to come upon him. So It's also, here's another strong thing you can use with rat. Enchanted creature gains 1 attack for each rat you control. When enchanted creature kills another unit, it summons a mangy rat onto the tile. This one right here, I think it's Ilmire's Rot Eater. Whenever something dies next to it, it actually gains 1 attack and 1 health. So if you put this surrounded by a bunch of, rats or gravelocks or something of that nature, and they die around them, this thing can actually get extremely powerful. There's actually one item on here that is like ridiculous. I forgot exactly what it is. I think it's Soul Scoundrel. No, here we go. Soul Scoundrel is the one that when a creature is destroyed, enchanted unit gets 1 cooldown on them. So you can use this on the Harvester, and when this is with the Harvester, every time something dies on the field, his cooldown goes down by 2 instead of 1. So he can attack much more often. I forget which one of these enchanted abilities is ridiculously powerful. I forget what it is, but when you use it on them, everything around it gets sacrificed, or it's one of the creatures that gets summoned. Everything around it gets sacrificed, and when it gets sacrificed, it comes with the HP, the damage of everything it had around it. It gets ridiculous. Like, I feel Decay is very strong, ridiculously strong, and it can be a very powerful deck to complement any deck, but there's still a lot of things that need to go. Here we go. Enchanted creature you control, when Grizzly Craft comes into play, sacrifice adjacent creatures. So if I put someone like anything in the middle and I have creatures around them, and I use Grizzly Craft on them, it will sacrifice all the creatures around them and then give them equal to its attack and health for the numbers of creature sacrificed. So if I have like 6 creatures around them and I sacrifice them, it will and they each have like 2 health and 2 damage. I believe that will give me like 12 health and 12 damage. I'm sure. Enchanted units gain attack and health equal to the number of creatures sacrificed. Okay, so it will give me 6 health and 6 damage, but that's still ridiculously powerful. If you have 3 creatures around you, if you have a bunch of, Mire Shamblers, which are not very strong because you can't really control where they're going to move. They move before they attack. So if you have a bunch of these guys around them and you summon in on someone, and they just become much more powerful. But so far, Decay still has a lot of cards that need to come out. Obviously, I got the pre-constructed deck, so there's, 51 cards, and I think there's like 40 other cards of Decay. I'm not 100% sure on that. There's at least another 10 or 15, but there still needs to be like memorials and impacts. But still, after a couple months of this game coming out, Decay is finally out, so I'm really hyped up about that. I'll try to incorporate this to my growth deck. I just don't know how yet, because there's still a lot of things I need in my growth deck. I still need another Great Wolf, and I still need a couple of other things, and I'm not even going to try growth, or I mean not growth, order or energy, because I just have near minuscule amount of cards in there. I shouldn't even bother trying to get it. But anyways, thank you guys for watching, and SgtKeeneye signing out.